Hey, fifth grade. This is Mrs. Phelps, and this is your Sort 35 video. I want you to take a minute and do a happy dance because this is your very last sort and quiz of your fifth grade year. So if your happy dance is really long, feel free to pause the video and come back to it. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about Sort 35. So we are on page 139, looking at words that have Latin root words, the words press, purge or pure, fuse, and pend. So here is what each of these mean. It would be my recommendation to write these onto your page 139 as well as you're sorting onto them. Hopefully you have copied page 137 and cut out your words like you see here. If you have not, go ahead and pause the video and do that so that you are ready to roll with me. The first word, well, let me talk about one thing that we're doing a little bit differently. We know some of you have faithfully watched these word sort videos, and they're not as much fun as we would love. We love to teach in a hands-on way, but sometimes we just have to kind of go through the words and learn them. But as a incentive, a prize, so to speak, for you guys for watching the video, you guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret about your quiz on Friday. So these are the things that are happening on your quiz. Here are the things that you should know for your Sort 35 quiz. There are going to be some words that you'll need to know how to spell. There are going to be words that are going to be written in context clues, like sentences that you'll have to figure out the meaning of them. They will be multiple choice. You will need to know the meanings of the root words, right? So they're right here. We're going to talk about those in a minute. And I'll give you certain words, and you'll need to figure out a synonym or an antonym for them. So remember, synonym S for same has a similar meaning. Antonym has an opposite meaning. Now, those of you who are watching, you will get a chance to bring an index card with you. You may fill it up with anything you want on the front and back of the index card, just a 3x5 like this. You're welcome to write anything you want on it. Let's say we're going through this and you're like, oh my gosh, I just can't remember how to spell the word pendulum. That just seems really tricky for me. You're welcome to write it on your index card. Let's say we're going through and you're like, oh, I can't remember what oppressive means. You're welcome to write it on the index card. You may use this on your word study quiz for Sort 35. Okay, so that is just a little incentive for you guys who are paying attention and working through this with us. All right, so let's get started. The first section we're going to look at are the words that have the Latin root word press, okay? Press means literally to press. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, okay? So this means, like, for example, pressure. If you put pressure on something, you're pressing on something. You know, let's say you accidentally cut your finger on a stick and it starts to bleed. If you put pressure on it, you're going to press down on it to help clot the bleeding. So the first word we have is the word impressive. And I highlighted the word press, but impressive kind of means it's something that you're capable of pressing into your mind, right? It's something that is going to stick out to you. You are going to think about it for years to come, right? So you saw this science fair project and it was so impressive how they worked on plants and growing in different climates and other things. It was so impressive. You kept it in your brain. It was pressed into your brain. Okay, the next word we have is the word oppressive. It means to literally press down on something. So a lot of times we think of these, you know, you think of this in like tyrannical situations, you know, kings or someone who ends up ruling like a tyrant. They press down on you. They are not kind and caring. It is not a good situation. A lot of times, like in the summer in Georgia, you might say, oh, this sun and this heat, it's so oppressive, right? It presses down on you. It's so awful, right? It's oppressive. And the last word you have is the word compression. This is one that you talk about, same thing, applying pressure to it. If you were a runner, a lot of times you might use compression sleeves on your legs or on your arms. It kind of puts pressure on your muscles, and it just allows for blood flow to go a little easier throughout your muscles as you're doing some strenuous work. So that's what compression means. Okay, the next word we're talking about is pure or purge. These mean to cleanse. Okay, so these are words that mean to cleanse. Okay, so if you have a purge, it means you're cleansing out, right? So my own children, I just did a giant purge of their room. I took out all clothes they didn't wear anymore, all the shoes that didn't fit, all the toys they didn't play with. I cleaned it out, right? I cleansed it. Okay, we can talk about the word impure, right? We know we learned in the past means not, right? So impure means something that you have not cleansed out, right? Something that is not good. A lot of times in Bible, you talk about things, you might have thoughts or things that are happening that are very impure, right? Things that are not cleansed out. They're full of sin. It's something that you need to, that you have, and we have to work on, right? Okay, the next word we have is purification. Purification is kind of like the process of making something clean or to cleanse. I have a water filter in my refrigerator, and what it does is it gives a purification to the water, right? It helps to cleanse it, take out all the minerals, all the chlorine, all the things that aren't necessarily good for your body, and it allows it to be able to be used, right? So that water filter helps in the purification process of water. Okay, we also have the word Puritan. If you notice, there's a capital P, so that is a proper noun. It's talking about a group of people. Puritans were a group of Christians who a lot of times came over and started some of the founding colonies, and they were ones who really felt like they wanted to purify the Roman Catholic Church. That's why they left England. These were ones they felt like, hey, we need to cleanse out this religion and get rid of any rituals, any ceremonies, anything that's not in the Bible. We want to go back to basics. Only the things that are written in the Bible is what we really feel like, we should continue to do. So they came over to America in hopes of, freedom of religion, being able to work on that. Okay, and this is a word, the last word in this pure column is the word expurgate. It is probably not a word you've heard before. I have to be very honest. I have not used it very often in my adult career, but it means to clean out, to purify, or to remove, right? We know that ex means not. So if we're talking about taking it out, exiting it out of what this is. So for example, let's say there's a song that you really like and it's a really cool song, but it has a lot of really bad words in it. Some of the companies might expurgate those songs, take out the bad words, and allow the song to remain kind of as is, but with very clean lyrics. That would be an example of being able to expurgate something. Okay, moving on, we're talking about fuse, which means to pour. Okay, so if you have a transfusion, a lot of times you talk about this with blood, right? So you have, you lost a lot of blood and you need someone to pour into you new blood, as gross as that sounds, to help your body to heal, right? That is something that is normal. Sometimes you do this with vitamins or, certain medicines. You have these transfusions where you pour the vitamins or the things into your body, usually through an IV. Okay, we have the word confuse. This one you might go, what in the world, Ms. Phelps? How in the world does that relate to pour? But if you look at the etymology of the word, it actually means to pour out, mingle ideas, make them indistinguishable. You're kind of confusing, right? If I'm like, what day do I have my dentist appointment? Is it Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or 2 months from now, right? I'm kind of pouring out these ideas. They're mixing around. I can't remember when it's happening or when it's not happening, right? That's what confuse means. Most of you know what confuse means, but from a actual root word sense, that's what it means. Okay, we have the word infusion. Infusion means to pour into something. So a lot of times if you get, you might get like vitamin waters or some fancy Gatorade drinks or something, and they might say infused with vitamins and minerals, right? They have poured that into it. Or just regular water that's infused with cucumber. So it's got like a slight little bit of cucumber in it. That has been poured into it. And then the last word we have is the word diffuse, which means to kind of like disperse or send out. So a lot of times if you have ever seen like an essential oil diffuser that takes something and disperses it or it pours out into the air. If you talk about like diffusing a situation, right? There's a lot of hostility and people are very angry with each other, that kind of thing, and you diffuse it. It means you kind of allow it to kind of pour out so that it's not getting ready to kind of detonate or go from there. But that's what that word diffuse means. And then the last column, pend, means to hang. So a pendulum is, if you've seen on a grandfather clock, there's like a long, typically like rod that hangs down. That's a pendulum and it goes back and forth. If you've ever seen Occam's razor, you've been to Tellus Science Museum, right? In the foyer, they have a big pendulum that kind of swings back and forth. It's a very cool thing. Okay, we have the word perpendicular. You should know that from math. You're probably very familiar with that with Miss Highland. But it literally means to hang at a right angle to the horizon. So if you have perpendicular lines, they are ones that kind of intersect like this. They create the 90-degree angles. So that is what perpendicular means. You have the word suspenders. Suspenders are things typically that hook to your pants and allow them to keep your pants up, right? They hang on your shoulders and they keep your pants up, or a lot of times like your dress socks or whatever it is that you have if you're in the military. Okay, you might have the word impending. Impending means it is kind of hanging out there. You are thinking about it. If you have an impending deadline, like, oh my gosh, I've got this major heart model that's due. It's impending. It's coming up. It's hanging out there. That date's not quite there yet, but I know it's coming, right? I can sense that it's coming. We have pendant. Usually you think of pendants, you can think of a pendant necklace, something that hangs on your neck. Typically it's just one thing. A lot of times you can have a cross pendant or one that just has a stone on it. Sometimes we talk about pendant lighting. A lot of times you might see that over top of a table or a kitchen island where it's just like one light that hangs down on top of it. And then the last word you have is the word suspend. So suspend means to kind of stop, hang out there. If you are suspended from school, you are not allowed to come to school, right? You have to hang at home. Or if you are suspending, payments for, a bill or something, it's saying like, hey, we're stopping it for now. We're not fully getting rid of it. It's still hanging out there, but we're not kind of sure what we're doing with that. Okay, so that's what all of these words mean. If you have any questions or you're unsure, go ahead and give me shoot your teacher an email. But as a reminder, here are the things that are on your Sort 35 quiz. And I would take a little bit of time each of these days this week to fill out your flashcard so that you have those to use for your quiz on either Friday or Monday. So have a good day, 5th grade. Talk to you soon. Bye.